Hello, my name is Gustavo, and today I'm introducing you the XRP overnight, trillions moved with minimal costs. Before we start, let me introduce you my partners and developers like me, Pedro and Ria. Together, we created a completely innovative product, as you'll see further. First, let's understand the overnight operation and the scenario of Brazil today. It's not only important but also mandatory because the Brazilian central bank understands it to be vital for the financial stability and also balancing the liquidity and the regulatory compliance for all financial institutions in the country. It also moves trillions of reais every month, and as we will see further, every day actually. And lastly, I'd like to emphasize the timing we are inserted in, a timing in which the National Brazilian Treasury is making high efforts to the tokenization of its bonds and also of the real, the DREX. So we came up with an idea for a market that is really great in one side and that the timing today is really good because the financial institutions needs it and also the government needs it as well. Although the overnight market is really great, it still faces relevant challenges like the high costs, which impacts the efficiency and profitability of the financial institutions, and they really look forward for some system in which the costs are lower than they are today. And also there is the liquidity and the risk management challenges that once faced can ensure the financial stability for all the involved institutions, including the Brazilian Central Bank. To face these challenges, we developed the XRP Overnight, which will be the next standard for overnight operations in the Brazilian markets. We do so first by tokenizing the Brazilian Treasury bonds with a complete infrastructure of smart contracts and blockchain using the XRP ledger. Also, we built this robust technology in an amazing and simple user experience. So you'll see in our MVP further that the robust solution can be built on top of a simple interface that can be easily used by the final user. And lastly, we came up with a product that uses all the best benefits of XRP Ledger, the speed, transparency, and especially the cost-effective transactions for the more than trillion reais moved every day. And now my partner Pedro will show you the demo of our application.
So, hi everyone, my name is Pedro, and now I will explain a little better for you how our system is working. First, we have this login page, so the bank employee can log in with his credentials. And now we have a list with all these liquidity requests. And here we have some important data. First, the institution who is asking for this money, the amount that the institution is asking for, the guarantee asset, date, and how much was already raised for each one of these liquidity requests. And here you have an important building which can be used to create your own liquidity request. So here you have to fill some data. First, the bank who is asking for this money, the amount in reais, let's suppose 10,000 reais, the asset which will be used as collateral. And when I press the confirm button, I'm sending a transaction for the blockchain. This transaction is calling a function on the smart contract, and this function can create the liquidity request, and this function locks the guarantee asset on the smart contract. So here we have the liquidity request we just made, and if we take a look on the blockchain explorer, we can see a transaction was made 15 seconds ago, which was a transaction we just made. So that's how a bank can use our system to guarantee the reserves for the central bank. So, hi everyone. Now I will show you how a bank can provide liquidity for other banks. So here I have the list with all liquidity requests, and here let's suppose going to provide money for this bank from this bank. Let's suppose I work on new bank, and I'm going to provide 10 reais. When I press the confirm button, I'm sending another transaction for the blockchain. This transaction is sending money for this bank and registering this transaction on our smart contract. So on the next day, after the overnight, the the bank who is asking for this liquidity can pay all the banks who provide liquidity for him in just one transaction, which I will show you better after the demos when I will explain a little more about the smart contract. But when if we take a look here on the blockchain explorer, we can see the transaction was made 30 seconds ago, which was a transaction we just made providing liquidity for a bank. Lastly, I would like to show another interesting feature that was developed on our system, a liquidity score. So, here you can take a look on the charts and see which banks provide more liquidity for our system. This is very interesting for the central bank because they can take a look which banks are less leveraged and the banks who are providing more liquidity for the system and ensuring the great functioning of the financial national system. So let's explain now about the smart contract functions. I believe don't make sense to explain all of them, but if you want to understand better, you can take a look on our docs on GitHub. So I'll explain the four main functions which is used in our system. First, we have the create liquidity request function. You can call this function to ask for money. This function registers it on the blockchain and locks the collateral asset on the smart contract. Then we have the provide liquidity function. This function is used if you want to provide liquidity for other banks. So you send money for the bank and register it on the smart contract. Another important function for our system is this one which is used to pay liquidity providers. So after the overnight, until 24 hours, the bank needs to call this function to pay back the banks who provide liquidity for him. It's important to remember that the banks needs to pay the amount the banks provided for him plus the daily interest rate. At least we have this function which is used to pay the collateral for the banks who provide liquidity in a default situation. So the liquidity provides get the collateral assets from the smart contract.
Talking about the blueprint of technologies. So first of all, I think it's worth mentioning that we developed a fully working MVP. You have the link you can access. I believe it's in the beginning or the end of this presentation. And we focused on developing a application that reaches the full potential of the XRPL ledger and creating a scalable solution for the clients. Talking about the stack that we used, as Pedro just told you how the smart contracts work, we are also using Next.js for the front end, Nest.js for the back end, MongoDB for the database, of course, the XRPL ledger, and we deployed our application using Vercel. All of this is all integrated, so the front end is integrated with such the backend as the smart contract, so the blockchain. And as I told you, we have a fully working MVP. It is always good to talk about market opportunity, and in this case, it is even better because we are talking about a huge market. I have here some statistics that says that the total market of overnight is 1.1 trillion per day. This is a huge amount of transactions happening. We have here that this represents 99.6% of total pre-purchase operations. So we are talking about a giant market. We have some more than 9,000 overnight operations per day. Uh, and this can get even better because the Brazilian government have many plans concerning tokenization. And when we think about overnight and tokenization, especially the tokenization of the national treasury, we are looking to a fertile ground for a huge amount of applications to come. So, market opportunity, it couldn't be better. So, talking about roadmap. In the short run, we first look in technical development. So, finish our MVP. This involves fixing some bugs, improving some functions, introducing some new core features, and alongside with that, we look to make some strategic partnerships. So, a person then that can help us um, test our application, help us with business rules, and make a more realistic application in general. Looking in the midterm, we can talk about not just the release of new features, but most importantly, a go-to-market strategy. So we want to make a feedback loop, acquire clients, receive feedback, improve the MVP. With the improved MVP, acquire clients, receive feedback, improve MVP. So this is a feedback loop. And in the long term, we look forward to make continuous innovation. So keep improving as much as we can, and of course, exploring always the full potential of the XRPL ledger. And a great vision that we have is that some countries can have a similar overnight market, so we can make a cross border solution and bring our solution outside of Brazil, looking forward to these countries and expand our market share. So this is it for the roadmap. So, to conclude, I want to thank you for listening, thank you for your time, and show you some important links you can now access. First of all, the GitHub for a more in depth look in our solution, and um, also I have the link of the deployed application so you can use it and try it yourself. Thank you. Till the next.